Jai Masih and good afternoon.
Jai Masih.
How are you?
We are fine.
How are you doing?
We are doing good.
You are welcome in our interactive Bible study.
Thank you, sir.
Let me tell a joke before we start our Bible study. The topic of joke is fruitful fasting. A pastor talks about 21 days fasting. His new believers. Just he tell that today onwards we are going to do fast 21 days. So you cannot take any food during 21 days time. So believers say, Pastor, can eat or drink for all these 21 days? No, cannot eat any solid food. But you can take any liquid foods. Sometimes you can fill your stomach like water, orange juice, just like. So you remember that no hard solid food to take. So after 21 days, Pastor say, hello, church, I think you have fruitful fasting experience. Let's share about 21 days fasting. The believers say, Pastor, as you told it is difficult to fast 21 days. But as you said, I need to fill my stomach with liquid food, right? So this is the way I fill my stomach and complete my 21 days fasting successfully. So believers say, for my lunch, 1 liter of grape juice with fully filtered, without any boost, any Bonvita. For the breakfast, 1 liter of grape juice fully filtered from a pure liquid. So for the dinner, 2 liter of orange juice with fully filtered. So what do you think this kind of fasting? It's interesting, right? But full by liquid. So this is the response from the new believer. So what we think about this time, we can think differently. Can I ask Brother Prakash leading us in prayer?
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's bow down our heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for the day you have given us. We are here to learn from your word, from the Zechariah chapter 7 and 8, and here is our teacher, who is the blessed one, and we are going to be blessed from him, because you are with him. Now we submit this inductive Bible in your hand. God, speak to us so that we could deeply understand your word, and we glorify and we could worship in truth and spirit. We ask and pray in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Prakash, for prayer. We start from the vital startings, the whole book of Zechariah, but today's our inductive Bible study mainly focused in chapter 7 and 8, the book of Zechariah. Purpose to give hope to God's people by revealing his future deliverance through the Messiah. So here in this book, the purpose is the Messianic kingdom and restoration of God. These are two vital things we're going to learn. The author, there is no any doubt, Zechariah is the author. So original audience, who are the audience for this book? The Jews in Jerusalem who had returned from their captivity in Babylon, who already returned from Babylon. Now the Israelis are in Jerusalem. These are the original audience. What is the return date for chapter 1 to 8? 520 to 518 BC, and chapter 9 to 14, 480 BC. What is the settings of the book of Zechariah? Normally this is the key points. The exiles had returned from Babylon to rebuild temple. Because of the Babylonians, before they captive the Jerusalem Israelis, they already destroyed the temple. When they returned back from Babylon, they already start to build the temple, but the work had been offset and hindrance. Even they are building, they are making a temple. Still there are many problems. Even book of Ezra, there is many hindrance. Still the Israelis was facing that time. Haggai and Zechariah confronted the people. That time, Haggai and Zechariah, through their prophecy, through their confrontation, they encouraged the people. Normally key verse, you can also write Zechariah 9, chapter 9 and 9 and 10. With Zechariah, there are two another key people, Zerubbabel and Joshua. Zerubbabel is the governor and Joshua is the high priest. The key place, it was Jerusalem. Special features, this book is the most apocalyptic. Apocalyptic means past. What God did in past, and Messianic of all minor prophets. It's the Messianic message for all the minor prophets. Now we are going to outlines. Even you can see your notes. I already sent through the email outlines. First one, now we are going to introduction. Zechariah was the son of Berechiah and grandson of Iddo. His family was part of the priesthood. His family background is Zechariah is come from the priesthood family. Already they saw God. His first prophecy was in the year 520 to 470 BC. This is the reference from Full Study Bible, page 1844. However, we do not know when he was born, when he died. We cannot declare, we cannot prove that when he born, when he died. We cannot say exactly. This is another some critical question. But that time is King Darius of Persia ruled Israel at that time. But this Darius is not like same Darius which in book of Darius lines reading story. It's a different Darius. Second point is background. We now Israelis were captive in 586 BC by Babylon. The temple of Jerusalem was utterly destroyed at that time. 50,000 Jews, including Prophet Haggai, Zerubbabel, and priest Joshua, were returned to Jerusalem. 50,000. Yeah, not 1,000, 2,000 people. Big crowd of people they returned back. While they are in Babylon, they had started mount in the 5th month and fast in the 9th month according to the Jewish calendar. This is a very important thing. Is 5th month and 9 months. There is a purposely there is a historical settings. This is I think the rule and regulation. This is according to the Jewish calendar. They had been mourning for the destruction of Jerusalem and captives of the Jewish nation and fasting for the destruction of the temple. So it looks like funny. This is like a rule and regulation. They're not focusing to God, but they just make a system. Whatever, just 5 and 9 months, they are still doing fasting and prayer. They had been mourning and fasting for 70 years. Same rule and regulation. So just imagine this is a continue going on. They already returned to Jerusalem. This is the time when the Zechariah prophesied. They already returned to Jerusalem, but still they practicing the same ritual, mourning and fasting. So this is another interesting. They sent people to priest and prophet for asking whatever they should continue their mourning and fasting. They were not getting the answer from them, so they were in dilemma. So there is another interesting. The first group of captives had just arrived from Babylon to Israel 60 years before Zechariah's first vision. Do you imagine? 60 years before they already come back to Jerusalem from the Babylonian. And the temple was being built by Zerubbabel and Nehemiah. There is no any doubt. Even the Ezra normally Ezra was as a teacher. The Ezra's part is their life is the spiritual part. But Nehemiah and Zerubbabel they built the Jerusalem temple. Such as Haggai were also prophesied at this time, and Joshua as the high priest. There is no problem. Third point we can go now. Purpose. What is the aim and the goal of the Zechariah chapter 7 and 8? There are two purposes for writing the book of Zechariah. First, to continue helping from rebuilding Jerusalem's temple, and second is the future of the Messianic kingdom. There is no any doubt. Very clear things is here in our inductive Bible study. So first thing is rebuilding the Jerusalem temple. But Jerusalem temple, because why they rebuild? They want to pray and fast, go to the temple and seek God, either the reading the Old Testament, either the Pentateuch, whatever things they are reading. And so this is the main important. The chapter 7 and 8 are to start their mourning and fasting as a ritual. But the focusing, they are doing their same thing, doing just previously talking 70 years. 70 years. They mourn and fast as a ritual. Not humbly go to the God, they nothing get from God, but still God also part from there.
Funny Jewish people.
Very funny. So to encourage them for Messianic kingdom and restoration of Zion. Even the prayer and fasting, seek to the Lord, that the message is very clear, the Messianic kingdom and restoration of Zion. What do you think? Imagine, there is an interesting part. We are not focusing all the Zechariah 1 to 14, just we focusing on chapter 7 and 8. Now we are going to, what is the message? 7 and 8 normally focus on Jewish people. The prophet Zechariah tell to the Jewish people, this message begins, then the word of the Lord came to Zechariah. It is essential to realize that this message was the direct word from the Lord to the people through prophet Zechariah. So we can see the reference, chapter 1 to 3, define us that the 4 messages Lord respond to question raised by Jews. So we can normally go for the four messages. The mourn and fast was not commanded by the Lord. Messianic Lord. This kind of the prayer and fasting, mourn fasting, not commanded by God.
But
They continue. They are focusing. Very interesting, right?
From 70 years.
70 years. Even they still practicing. 5th of the month and the 9th of the month. This is very interesting. As we study chapter 7 and 8, like funny style. These are the following 4 messages. I go one by one. The first, number 1 message, Lord desired righteousness rather than ritual. Which we can take the reference from chapter 7, 4 to 7. The message is content to message rebooking from the Lord for the way they are mourning and fasting. Hey, what kind of people? You are still doing mourn and fasting, but this is not from God. So righteousness is rather than ritual. So God, now even these present days, God don't want to ritual. Still the church practice ritual. This is not a bad thing. But this is more important thing is righteous. What in our heart, even among all the peoples. The number 2, Lord's desire compassion rather than completion. Compassion. Even Jesus Christ, even mentioned Matthew 11:28. He is the so how much he has compassion. So we can take reference from chapter 8 to 14. God's desire is compassion rather than compassion. The second message is message of repentance. God always wants repentance. So whoever go to the Lord, Lord, forgive me. I repent right now. If we make this kind of commitment to God, God really listen our prayer. So the message was for remembering the prophetic message only prophets, that they will not listen to prophets. That kind of people who already come back from the Babylon, now they are in their own country in Jerusalem, still they are practicing, they not listen anything from God, still they continue their ritual system. So just think, another message, the Lord will turn problems into peace. Because the God is God of the peace. So we take from chapter 8, 1 to 17. The third message was message of restoration for the near future and coming Messianic kingdom. The Lord promised blessing to the peoples of Zechariah's days. Their land would be prospered and people will be blessed instead of discipline. So this is a promise from God. Even the Zechariah tells the things, chapter 8, 1 to 17. The Lord will turn fast into feast. The fast feast means make us rejoice. When we take together, when we go for eat anything, just we can feel enjoy, right? So here is a very strong point. Lord will turn fast into feast. Chapter 8, 18, 23. The fourth message was message of rejoicing. Even the New Testament, Paul say, rejoice in the Lord. Again, rejoice in the Lord. That very important thing in our life.
So,
Even believers' life, church life, the rejoice in the Lord also very important, right? So even his message is that all this fact will turn into happy festivals. When the Messiah will set up his messianic kingdom on the earth, then there will be no need to mourn and fast. This is the very important thing. So, because this study is inductive Bible study, now is the time for question and answer. May you feel free. I can ask some of the question. You can give the answer. Let me give a chance first. I ask you one by one. This is the inductive Bible study. It means I am as a teacher and all of you. It means not I am perfect. We learn together.
okay, sir.
Amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Okay, as a teacher, first question I ask to Binay. As a businessman, what do you think about fasting?
I think as a business person, it is possible to certain time fasting like some hours, one day. But it is difficult to fast in many days because hunger and weaker body cannot work hard. If we want to fast, we need to separate from our business because at that time we have to spend long time with God by praying, worshipping, hearing and reading scripture. Because fasting is not only far from work, food and food and luxurious life, but it is time to make a very close relationship with God. Some people do that. They are far from only food, but they have no time to spend with God. It, as a business person, when we separate a long time from business, it affects production and the result will not get positive. So, when unable to possible another person in his position, or when unable to adjust another person in his place, it is possible to do long time fasting, I think.
Thank you. It is great answer, right? So it means a conclusion that this is not like a ritual. Even the medical person can do fast, but not a long time, 21 days. Already we hear the jokes. So one day, either 2 days, still can do. As a businessman can do fast, but very short time, right? Do you want to add anything? You want to add? Prakash, anything you want to add?
Okay.
It's okay. Ari, anything?
I think from his side.
Enough. Okay, thank you. Okay, now I ask the question to Brother Prakash. As a medical person, what do you think about fasting?
As a medical person, I have different view. Yes, I support the fasting as a Christian because Bible encourages fasting for believers. But as a medical person, I am a medical person. If I think I support fasting, but I support for only 1 day because when people fast for more than 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 40 days, 6 days, 7 days, or 40 days, they become weak. They become hunger and weaker person cannot think properly, cannot do work, cannot decide properly and well managed.
Yes, it means 1 week, 1 day you can write.
Yes. One day I support, but more than 2 days, 3 days I do not support. Although still it is problem that if a person who is going to be fast, if he is cancer patient, if he is some kind of disease, it makes weakness. When people are weak, disease attack people. Sometimes it will be very dangerous and it may cause to death. I support fasting. Really, I support, but I support as a medical person. I just support only 1 day fasting. But as a Christian, I support. Yes, even in a week we can fast 1 day, but there may be gap. We cannot continue more days fasting. But Bible says if we want to be, if we want to be spiritual, if we want to be connected with the God, if we want to Holy Spirit, if we want to get the gifts of God and for the intimacy, it is good. Yes, I support in Bible perspective in the view of God. But if I am a businessman, only businessman, he thought as a businessman, I thought I am a medical. In the medical view, I do not support fasting. I support only 1 day. It may be once a week or once a month. Just I do not support many days fasting.
So still as a Christian can do fasting, but 1 week, 1 day. I think 1 day you can do fast, right?
As a Christian, people can do fast 40 days, 16 days, according to their wish, according to their will, according to God's power. But in case of, as I see as a medical person, I don't support in this view because the view is different. When we look at the Bible perspective, it gives another answer. But when we look at through the medical view, it gives another answer. If he looks as a business view, he has different answer.
Okay.
But all we have different logic and different view,
Thank you
which
so
suits
much.
the fast.
Thank you so much for your answer. Anything you want to add? Add anything?
I think, according to him, I understand that it is possible to 1 day in a week fasting.
Yes,
More,
good.
not more than it affects his body.
Yeah, it's good. Hari, anything you want to add?
Nothing already happened.
Okay, it's
So
good.
I don't want to add more.
So it means already you catch up something.
Yeah.
So now the time to ask Hari, as a Christian, what do you think about fasting?
As being a Christian and as a Christian view, fasting is humbly reject something of the flesh to glorify God, to improve our spirit, and to go deeper in our prayer life. It is good to be a close relationship with God and to get His guidance and revelation. If we see as a Old Testament perspective, in Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1 to 8, there is written to share food for hungry people and to loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free. And as same way, in the New Testament perspective, Apostle Paul mentioned in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 5, it is better to focus on God, and priority should be only to the God in fasting.
Yes, good. It's a great answer. So Fasting is not see that I am the most righteous person. This is not fasting, right? So
Yeah.
more focus on God and reading Bible and take time to pray with God. So more focusing is very great. You also already tell the reference from OT and NT.
Yeah.
So anything want to add, Prakash? Anything want to add as a Christian? Anything want to add? What is real fasting as a Christian? And do you think anything want to add?
As a Christian, whatever he answered, it is correct. But as we look through the medical person, business person, we ignore the God. Just give our perspective and view. So everyone is here, correct?
Vinay, anything want to add?
I think as a Christian person, he has mentioned many things. I also think it is possible in many day fasting, long time fasting, if God want to fast him. Because if God leads and if God gives him power, it is possible. But if he want to fast only from himself, it is not possible to long-term fasting because he may be weak, I think.
Yes, very good. Great. Even in the Bible, we see in the OT also. We think that I think that also when Moses went to the mountain, Horeb, Sinai, so he was talking with God for 40 days, right? I don't think he did not take any water, any food, whatever things. So from that 40 days fasting, he get power to lead Israelis, right? 1,000, 2,000, around many thousand people he led. Some says more than 600,000. So many. So Moses led. Even in we see that New Testament, even Jesus is a great example, right? But 40 days fasting, Jesus is a model. He wants to teach something to his disciples about prayer and fasting. So even this present time, also as a Christian, we can do fasting and prayer. So what he mentioned earlier, the book of Isaiah, so chapter 58, right? So fasting is not like so I am very righteous, but fasting is mainly focus on God. Focus on God and seek God. What God tell about
Intimacy with God.
intimacy with God, relationship with God. Even some say that prayer and fasting always go together, right? So we supposed to make our body weak, but in physical, but spiritually much stronger. Go with God, right? Communication with God, talking with God. This is the vital answers. I am very grateful. These are all kind of great answers. Now with time,
Fasting without praying is useless.
yeah, we can say
Yes, should be prayer also.
yes. It's good, very good. So now you can feel free. You can ask any question. Maybe anyone you can ask.
Sir, I have one question. Can I ask, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Welcome.
How God will restore Jerusalem?
Okay, this is inductive Bible study, right? So at least we understand that we can find out the answers, meanings from the text. Can we read Zechariah chapter 8, verse 8?
Okay, I will read.
Okay.
God is zealous God for passionate so that he will restore Jerusalem. Go will return to Jerusalem, and then peoples and the whole city will be transformed by the presence of Lord. The presence of Lord will transform people and the whole city into holiness and truth.
Okay, thank you so much. Because there is a very important thing. God always passionate to restore their people, right? So how can restore? There is a very easy answer, right? If we are eager to hear from God's intent is nobody go to in trouble situation. beloved one, even the last stage his life, repent, come to near with him. So the presence of the Lord will trust for his people. So holiness and truth. When we go to the God, when we seek God, when we concentrate our mind to God and reading Bible, do fellowship, even with prayer time, God, there is no any doubt. Absolutely God wants to restore his people. Even not in the Zechariah's time, even the Israelites already back to Jerusalem, around 50,000 people. At that time, Zechariah verse 8 says, so they are already back in Jerusalem. So whoever faithful, whoever righteous to God, there is absolutely God want to restore the Israel as well us also. God also want to restore even our lives, even our daily lives, even this present time, just life also. God can want to restore, no problem. Have you any question anymore?
I have also one question, sir. If you don't mind, I want to ask
Okay,
with
you
you.
are welcome, no problem.
What does God define as godliness?
Right? So we can give the answer from text Zechariah 8, 16 and 17. Let me read very briefly. These are the things you are to do: speak the truth to each other and render correct and sound judgment in your courts. Do not plot evil against each other and do not love to serve. Firstly, I hate all these, declares the Lord. This is the word from the Lord through the prophet Zechariah. So point by point, I give the answer. To do right things, to tell the truth each other all the time tell the truth, to practice and truth that leads to peace into course. To do not make evil plots to harm each other, to stop swearing to things that are false. Have you any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. What God will get benefit from punishing the Israelites?
This answer is also from the text verse 8:13. Let me read very briefly. Just as you, Judah and Israel, have been a curse among the nations, so I will save you. This is a promises from God through prophet Zechariah, and you will be a blessing. Do not be afraid, but let your hands be strong. So God lifted the curse before the watchful eyes of the nations and made them both a symbol and source of blessings. If we have curse from God, this is the beginning for to receive the blessings from God. God doesn't want to them to try to Him. Israelis, they should walk by faith, trusting Him to love, and then God promised to bless them in everything they do. They had no put Him first if they will experience great success. So the curses to the people is the start point of the blessing from the Lord. You want to tell anything?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let us summary and conclusion. Zechariah got words directly from the Lord when they were in a dilemma for the continuation of the mourning and fasting. So his message was a request for the turn and mourn and fast. His second message was repentance. Third message of restoration. The final fourth message of rejoicing. Lord desire righteous rather than ritual. There is absolutely so God's passionate compassion is rather than compulsive. The Lord will turn problems to peace. The Lord will turn fast into feast. As an application part, fasting should not be measured as a dieting field. The fasting is not a dieting food. Either the church culture and our ritual system, we should not fast to lose weight. Do you understand?
Yes.
As a ritual, some of the church, some of the personal life, as a Christian also sometimes, this is not like a losing or weight, like a dieting. This is not a fasting. Fasting is not taking food, drink, sleeps, or even sex to focus on a period of spiritual growth. We humbly deny somewhat of the flesh to glory God, so enhance our spirit, go deeper in our prayer life. Christian fasting is not about work that's commanded by Christ or required by Scripture. Luke mentioned in the book of Acts records believers fasting before they make important decision. That was the time the Jerusalem church want to send the missionary to the Antioch. The key person is Barnabas and Paul, Apostle Paul. So before some make important decision, even now time and now present time, we can do prayer and fasting. Fasting is a way to determine to God and also that we are serious about our good relationship with Him. So yes, anybody can fast. Sometimes we should not be able to do without food. Example, diabetes patient, he cannot do fast, right? But he can pray. But if the diabetes person to fast, he will face more problems as a physical life. But everybody can temporarily give up somewhat in order to focus on God, even unplugging the television. Do you understand? Unplugging the television. Sometimes we not see the television also. This is also one kind of fast. We can escape for seeing the television. So accept this one. Just not sit down and thinking, but we can pray. We can do prayer. We can do fasting. Either we can some Bible studies, even the personal, even the family life. So this is the very meaningful fast and prayer. So, thank you so much for your concentration. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.